citizen of Azeroth, behold.
We've been working on it for quite a while, and it was a pretty big undertaking, redoing the entire old world. So it's great to see it finished, considering how much work went into changing everything. So, in addition, we made 2 new races. We added the goblins, which people have been asking for a long time as a playable race, and we added the new worgen, which was something darker and more sinister, and something like we haven't really done anything like that before too. So I think we've put in a lot of content. I think people are going to be really excited to play it.
You have some rather, shall we say, dedicated fans with all the changes and all the destruction that's going on in Cataclysm. Have you picked up on any particular outcry over these vast changes, like, oh man, I can't believe they drowned the Thousand Needles?
I think that the people on our team are also some of the most devoted players, and especially some of the people that have been around a long time. Like I said, a lot of people at Blizzard have been here for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, and they look at the old world and they go, no, this is ours. But I think at the same time, we wanted to breathe new life into the world because people have been playing this content for so many years, and I think we did a really good job of being respectful of the original ideas, the original content. And I think when people go through and play, they'll even though things have changed, they'll go like, oh, they put in old Blanchy, I remember that, or oh, okay, they talking about Hogger, this is funny. Like, you still feel the same, it still feels like the same world. It just feels like things have changed. And I think that even some of the most dramatically changed zones, like the Barrens, is very dramatic, visually changed. I think when people go in it, they're going to go, whoa, this doesn't feel like the Barrens. And then as they play through it, they'll go, this is awesome. Like, this is a great play experience. So, and when you look at the original World of Warcraft, that was a long time ago, and we didn't have 12 million players to give us feedback. And with Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King, everyone learned something. Artists, level designers, quest designers, item designers, encounter designers, they all learned things. And now we have so much more of a skill set. When we look back at some of the original zones, we go, oh, if we could just do this again, we would do it 10 times better. And then that kind of led into the discussion of, okay, the old world's not going away. People are going to keep playing for years. Let's do it. And that's where Cataclysm came from. It's like, let's spend the time and let's remake the world and make it great.
The new zones obviously was a good let us implement new technology that we got with this expansion, and we kind of internally try to raise the bar. Each time we want to do new things and just kind of raise the mark a little bit. And I think with this expansion, we got a lot of new technology from awesome tools team and engineers, and we were able to put a lot of that into this expansion. And so hopefully you'll see that when you go into the new areas, and even some of the old areas where we went back and changed things a lot, we were able to add this new tech that we got, which was incredible. But I think for me personally, I know within the level design group in particular, we really wanted old world flying. That's something that we really were pretty strong. We wanted this to happen, and
Right.
It was an amazing amount of work to get that into the game. There are a lot of areas that players just couldn't see, they couldn't go to, but there had to be something there once you allow players to be able to fly everywhere they want to go. You can't have these huge blank areas, so we put an enormous amount of work into just doing that.
I think players don't realize how much work was required to take the old world, which was never built for flying, so we took a lot of liberties with everything's a facade in Stormwind, because we know you can never get behind it or over it, so we never built the backside of any of the buildings. And some of the buildings, the way we put them together, if you ever look down on it, it doesn't make any sense. And I think we did a great job. We did a lot of work, but I think players are going to feel like it's so natural. Like they're just going to take off, and it's exactly what they had imagined it would be. Like they're like, oh, it was always there. Great. Now I see it. And they have no idea the man years of work, of labor behind it to make it happen. So I think you're right. I think that was a huge success. I think we did what felt logical for the zones. We tried to build a story with every zone that we made. So I think that the level designers and the quest designers knocked it out of the park.
It was kind of nice. Like you could take all these cataclysmic events and get a little bit of variety out of that. So we were able to translate that through to the different zones and stuff. So you will see a little bit different themes, but you're right. The elemental theme thing is there.
Yeah, I think I give a lot of credit to our quest team. Those guys are brilliant, and I think they do a lot of work ahead of time when they go into a zone before they even start doing any implementation. They say, what's the high level story? What is the story we're trying to tell with the zone? Okay, great. Now, who are the big players? What other storylines can we build? And I think they spend a lot of time planning before they even begin one bit of implementation. And then we also have guys like Chris Metzen, and we have Alex Freziabi who work on the much higher level themes, like what is the theme of this expansion, what are we going to try to convey, and then make sure that all the work that the quest designers are doing, help build and fit into that. And I think, that's months of work even before we get to the part where we're making the game.
You had Illidan, then Arthas, and now Deathwing. All these guys come from the real-time strategy games. Is it possible to create a great villain just from the MMO? Or will you be running out of bad guys soon?
I think there's always going to be things to fight in World of Warcraft. Obviously, World of Warcraft. I think that it's important to build. I think it's important to have villains that are identifiable and have a backstory. People want to know, who is this? Why am I fighting him? Why is he evil? What's going on in the world? So I think the challenging part for us is always building stuff up for the next expansion or the one after that, like setting things in motion so that people start to go, I remember Garrosh. This is starting to make sense now. This, now Thrall's leaving. Okay, I get this story. So I think we do that pretty well. Our developers are so passionate that we end up wanting to do way more than we have time for, and then there's always pieces where we're like, we really want to get back to Ulden. We really want to get back to that one day and hit it. And then as we go through the expansions, we go, is this the opportunity? Is this the right time? And then that's up to the designers to basically feel like, yeah, this is the great time. This is the right time to do it. Let's do it and do it right. So I think there's still plenty of places in the world where there's stories that we're going to build on again in the future. I can't speak to other MMOs. I think every MMO is unique in its own way. We have 12 million subscribers.
That's pretty unique.
That's pretty unique, yes. And I think it means, like, the way we're going is we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep making content, because I think the way that it works with players right now is they get through all the content that we spend years making, and they get to the end, they're like, okay, give us some more. We're ready for more. So, as long as we still have we have millions and millions of people always asking for more content. So I think we're just going to keep. I think we've got a very good model of putting out expansions and then giving people content updates in between the expansions that feel very big. They almost feel like expansions. Some of the patches we put out are huge when you look at what other games are doing necessarily. Like, and we're not charging for this. We're just giving that content away to keep people playing as we build into the next expansion.
I think to go along with that too, like the amount of experience that we have on the team now lets us deliver even more content. Cataclysm is the amount of content we're giving in this expansion is enormous. Remaking the whole world and adding new content too. I think the experience going forward helps us even work more efficiently, and especially with the new tools and things that we're getting, allows us to kind of deliver even more upon that too, which is it's a win-win. We want to give more content, and players want more content. So,
but as far as the life cycle, if that's talking about when will World of Warcraft end, I don't think anyone knows the answer to that question.
I thought it just ended. The Cataclysm.
I think it's just the beginning. There you go. How about that? No, there'll always be more. A lot of our patches we'll put out a 5-man dungeon, and we'll do some raid content. We might add a battleground for PvP. I don't think that that's something that we're tied to necessarily. I think in the past we do it because basically we're catering to, there are players that are getting through all of our content and they want more, and they want more to continue along the way. But I mean, there's been times in the past where we've gone and touched up zones that aren't necessarily the end game content, like Ogre Law was an example. Like, that wasn't end game content. It was just an area where we looked at it and we were like, this feels incomplete. Let's go back and touch it. And I think we'll keep doing that, where, as players play through zones, if they get to an area of a zone and they go there and they're like, why is there nothing here? Like, it's funneling me to this location, and it just doesn't feel. It feels like there should be more here. And then we listen to that and go, hey guys, let's put down some camps. Let's put down some quest givers. Let's build out some quests from this location because it feels like we need something here. So I think it's a balance of. I don't think there's such a thing as being too polished. I would say that the designers, I think, do a really good job of keeping things fresh. And even though I think we know how to make, like, starting experiences, 1 through 15 experience. I think we know how to do it, and we know how to do it correctly. But if you look at, like, the Goblin starting experience, it's very whimsical. It's funny. You're driving around a car. The story, the quest line is funny. Like, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh as you go through it. And then you look at the Worgen starting experience, also 1 through 15 starting experience. Completely, they both work. They're both very fun, but the Worgen experience is so much darker, so much more sinister. It feels like you're like in a horror film. Like they feel radically different, and they both feel good, but they still feel different. So I think we can still do that.
One thing that really changed in Wrath of the Lich King when it came to raiding and gear progression were some things you did to ensure that everyone could take part in the raids. But it also sort of meant that there wasn't really any point in going back to the earlier raids once the new ones have been released. Is there something you will be doing differently in Cataclysm to keep the starting raids interesting even as the life of the expansion moves on?
That is a good question. That's a tough one. I think that we have so much raid content built into the game already, and our raid players always want to be getting the best gear. They want to be doing the latest raid. I think we've done some things that have been really cool to get people to go back and touch old raid content. Like, I think the achievement system was a great example, where we added that, and then suddenly you had people going back and doing Molten Core again, and you had people doing all this old raid content. I think that was a really cool experience. But I think for most players, they do want to just keep pushing on. They want to always be doing the next brand new thing. Like, when I heard about WoW for the first time, I'd played EverQuest, and I thought, and I mean, everyone thought, well, okay, EverQuest has so many people playing, and it's very, very successful. And I think, World of Warcraft, we didn't know what is going to be successful for World of Warcraft. If you think people in the beginning of WoW development thought we're going to have 10 million, 12 million people playing the game, no one thought that. That was never an expectation. I think that why MMOs are so successful now is because it offers people an interactive experience where they're playing with. They can play with their friends, they can play with their families, they can meet new people, they can build relationships, and I think that's what people really like about the game, or that's one of the things that people really like about the game. The future of MMOs, I keep wanting to see great ones come out. I really like playing MMOs, so I mean, I want to see, I want to see more. I want to keep hoping to develop it and keep getting more people playing it. World of Warcraft as well, obviously. I think in the past, I mean, like, having them have to work together to combat a greater evil was very compelling because you had these contrasting antagonistic groups. And then I think in Cataclysm now, yeah, we definitely are trying to go back. We're showing them in competition again. We're showing them gearing up for a battle. I think if you look at Orgrimmar is a great example. Like, Orgrimmar before versus Orgrimmar now they're basically slapping steel, black iron plates on everything. They're putting spikes, the whole facade in the front. They have cranes building up for war, building war machines. getting supplies ready. So I think people are really attracted to that. They like their faction. People who play Horde love the Horde, for the Horde. People who play Alliance love Alliance. People who play both can somehow go back and forth between those two feelings. But I think it's always great to have an adversarial relationship. And I think people really are drawn to that.
So who would win in a one-on-one fight between Thrall and Varian Rim? And how much has Chris Metzen bribed you to ask for Thrall?
Man, I have no idea.
For the Horde.
I am very I'm trying to be very impartial. I mean, I've played Horde from the beginning. I played Alliance in beta, like original brown box beta, and I think it's great how passionate people are about the faction they choose. Like people who are hardcore Horde are crazy hardcore Horde. People who love the Alliance, and I think it's fun. And I think people I think it's all good-natured fun of the when they interact with each other. Especially like at BlizzCon is a great example. Like they'll always say, "Who here likes the Horde?" And like, "Oh, people like the Horde." "Who here likes the Alliance?" "Oh, people like the Alliance." And they're booing each other. But I think it's good-natured. I think it's fun. I think people really like it. So I didn't answer your question at all.
Now that's around. If I want to be the next red shirt guy, what do I have to question in order to get myself in the game?
I don't know.
Any clues? Any hints?
I don't know. I think red shirt guy is a great example of how passionate our fans really are. The minutia that some of our fans are aware of is incredible. Like people have encyclopedic knowledge of our game more than me, more than a lot of developers on our team. And I don't think one person in the world can possess all the knowledge of World of Warcraft. I think the story's too big. I think the reason why he resonated with people was because when he went up there and asked this great question, and I mean, very specific, very, very minute, but all he wanted to hear was, we'll take care of that. Good question. So I don't know what the next question like that is, so people can start researching. Different fights work differently. Like I think there are some bosses that are really just tank and spank. Like you go in, he's a big guy, he hits really hard, but you heal through it, you maintain DPS, the tank holds aggro. And people like that kind of encounter. But I think also, like, as you move up through the raid, people want challenge. Like, part of the great thing about a raid is having an obstacle put in front of you, and then having to puzzle out, what are we doing? What did we do wrong with that? Like, we wipe and you go, what did we do wrong that time? That. Okay, great. Everyone stay away from the green. Okay, great. Next thing. Oh, what are we doing wrong? Oh, those things spawned. We need a secondary tank to go over there and take care of them. I think people like doing that. And even though... and then the same thing too, like the last boss in any raid, you want to give people a sense of accomplishment, and part of that is making it really challenging and making people have to think and work together as a group to overcome the challenge of the final bosses. So I think people like it. When I raid, we'll failing at the same boss for 3 weeks in a row, and we're like, oh, we're so close. That makes it so that fourth week when you actually manage to break through and beat the boss, it's like, because I play we're all talking to each other, and to actually hear the people cheering, they're just in their home in front of a computer, and then hear them go yes, and what are their neighbors saying, what's going on in there, what are their families saying? It's what happened? We finally beat the boss. It's oh, okay, congratulations, we beat Arthas, this is awesome. So, and then you see each other the next time in person, and because I play with people at work, and the next time you see them in the office, you're hey, great time last night. That was awesome. We finally got her. And I don't know. I think without great challenge, you can't have great accomplishment.
But at last, the whole of Azeroth will break. And all will burn beneath the shadow of my wings.